Good afternoon. Live from Texas, this is The Will Cain Show. Now, we've been on top of this first story, illegal immigrant truck drivers on our nation's road for quite some time, because in the most extreme cases, we've seen that leads to Americans losing their lives. Many of these truckers, like the one behind the wheel in this scary story, are just getting handed licenses by states like California. Here's another example of a driver, according to American truckers, who got a license in California and was pulled over in Arkansas.
You understand English?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Why did you park here?
Yeah.
No good. Is there anybody else in the truck?
Well,
Is there anybody else in the truck?
my company.
Your company. Okay, you don't understand English. Pants. Put your pants on.
Pizza? What?
Put your pants on. Pants. Put some pants on.
Yeah, okay.
You don't understand English. What company do you work for?
The company, California.
Your company's called California?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't understand me.
No pants, no English. My company is California. What about signs, with icons instead of words? He can't be that incapable, right? The answer is yes. Yes, he can.
What does that sign mean?
What's that mean? 10 things.
What does this sign mean?
Master, enter. Master. With station.
Okay, so if you see this sign, what do you do?
Yeah, driver going. Yeah, driver going. Must.
Number 35, what is this sign?
Oh, two people. Maybe girl. Maybe woman.
What does it mean?
What do you mean?
Yeah, what does that sign mean?
Yeah, two people.
Two people doing what?
Walk.
They're walking?
Yeah, two people are walking.
Where?
I don't know where.
Just flat out unable to understand basic road signs, the ones our kids learn in driver's ed. What will it take for accountability? How many crashes on our highways? How many videos like this crossing our feeds? Meanwhile, there's a mass shakeup underway, or reported to soon be underway, of ICE leadership. It's impacting field offices in at least 8 cities and replacing leaders with Border Patrol officials. The overhaul is driven by reportedly competing camps inside DHS. On one side, you have DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino, who have pushed for a more aggressive approach, targeting anyone here illegally. Now, that stance is yielding fierce backlash from protesters, as it did when Bovino made his way to a Chicago court to testify on the subject earlier today. On the other side, reportedly border czar Tom Homan and ICE Director Todd Lyons. They're said to be advocating a focus on criminal illegals and those with final deportation orders. The internal friction, no doubt driven by reports that deportation numbers are well below targets set by the administration. Early indications were that the administration wanted to see over 3,000 deportations, arrests and deportations per day. As we stand, we have about 1,100 arrests and deportations a day. In total, about 500,000 illegal aliens have been removed. Bigger, though, is the number of self-deportations. 1.6 million voluntarily leaving since the beginning of the Trump second administration. In the backdrop of this divide, almost half of Americans say illegal immigrants who haven't committed crimes other than entering the country illegally should still be deported.
But first, breaking tonight, President Trump takes to the global stage ahead of one major international meeting and amid serious questions about his most recent global achievement. There's renewed fighting tonight in Gaza over what Israel claims is a violation of the ceasefire with Hamas. Right now, the president is in Japan preparing for a trip to South Korea, a big economic summit, and a session with his Chinese counterpart, President Xi Jinping. We have Fox team coverage tonight. Lucas Tomlinson is already in South Korea awaiting the president's arrival there. But we begin in the Middle East, where Israel's prime minister is ordering what he calls powerful strikes after an alleged violation of the truce. Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yanks is live in Tel Aviv tonight with the latest. Good evening, Trey.
Brett, good evening. In the second major violation of the ceasefire, Hamas launched an attack on Israeli soldiers in southern Gaza. An Israeli military source tells Fox News Hamas fired over the yellow line into Israeli-controlled areas of Gaza in what is being described as a very serious incident. In response to the attack, Israel launched a series of airstrikes across the Gaza Strip following a security consultation with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
They have violated the ceasefire by not giving our hostages back, and they are firing at our troops, all of them against the ceasefire. Israel will enforce the ceasefire. We believe in the ceasefire, but we will enforce it.
Israel's defense minister calling the Hamas attack a red line, saying in a statement, quote, the Hamas terrorist organization will pay a heavy price for attacking IDF soldiers in Gaza and for violating the agreement on the return of the deceased hostages. Hamas still must release the bodies of 13 hostages that are held inside Gaza after releasing partial remains overnight of a hostage who was already accounted for. The group denied involvement in the shooting attack earlier today and said it won't be releasing a body tonight as planned due to what it says are Israeli violations of the ceasefire. Still, Vice President J.D. Vance remains optimistic about peace in the region.
That doesn't mean that there aren't going to be little skirmishes here and there. We know that Hamas or somebody else within Gaza attacked an IDF soldier. We expect the Israelis are going to respond, but I think the president's peace is going to hold despite it.
Phase 2 of the ceasefire is already being discussed, and despite the violation today, it is expected to move forward as planned. Brett?
Trey Yanks live in Tel Aviv. Trey, thank you. Senior congressional correspondent Chad Pergram is on Capitol Hill tonight.
A grave warning from Capitol Hill.
This is going to get worse as the week goes on, as time goes on.
Vice President Vance huddling with Senate Republicans, saying troops will get paid this week.
Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to pay everybody because we've been handed a very bad hand by the Democrats.
But Democrats think Vance is the wrong guy, meeting with the wrong party. They want President Trump.
He has spent 1 hour negotiating with Democrats on this issue in the Oval Office. 1 hour. How much time has he spent on his ballroom?
House Speaker Mike Johnson says the president already met with top Democratic leaders before the shutdown.
But that was a 1 hour meeting where he basically said, here's our bill, take it or leave it. Yeah. That's not a negotiation.
Yeah. Schumer has shown no indication whatsoever that he's changed his posture from that day. So talking with him and trying to negotiate is a waste of time.
Air traffic controllers exasperated as they work without pay.
The pressure is real. We have people trying to keep these airplanes safe, now having to worry about how they're going to pay bills.
25 states are suing the Trump administration to compel the release of emergency food aid, which expires Saturday.
100% unequivocally, USDA does not have the $9.2 billion that it would require.
Chef Jose Andres says he will feed federal workers. One Democrat disturbed it's come to this.
They're actually feeding government workers that haven't been paid yet. I mean, that's the absurdity of this.
Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia ripped House GOP leaders today. Greene said the party, quote, wasted its majority by keeping the House out for 5 weeks. Brett?
Chad Pergram live on Capitol Hill. Chad, thank you. 85% of your fellow Americans say the recent surge of political violence is worsening as both sides trade blame. The situation was the subject of a Senate hearing today on Capitol Hill. Correspondent David Spunt shows us tonight from Washington.
In a fractured nation's capital, paralyzed by a government shutdown, both sides of the aisle came together to agree political violence in the United States needs to be stopped.
It is motivated by a distinct and fanatical ideology.
It is the fault of both parties in differing degrees.
Both parties also playing the blame game.
Chuck Schumer said about Supreme Court justices the following: I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
Chuck Schumer, using self-interrogation, said I was wrong. I've never seen the President of the United States who has spoken about punching people in the face, who has said a lot of violent rhetoric, has never given that type of self-interrogation.
Senators heard from Metro D.C. police officer Daniel Hodges, seen here fighting to breathe during the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021.
I was beaten, bloodied, crushed, with my eye gouged and my skull smashed with my own baton.
And the former acting Homeland Security Secretary, Chad Wolf.
The difference between 2020 and now, however, is that the Trump administration knows what to expect.
Democrats have criticized the Trump White House's use of law enforcement on city streets. The hearing comes just a day after we learned a Minnesota man was recently arrested for threatening the life of Attorney General Pam Bondi in a TikTok post. Other examples of political violence this year alone: Charlie Kirk's assassination, an arson inside the Pennsylvania governor's mansion, the murder of Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman, and consistent protester attacks on federal officers across the country.
Earlier this month, a pardoned January 6 rioter was separately arrested for threatening to kill House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries. Brett.
David, thank you.
Meanwhile, Vice President J.D. Vance heading to the Hill as the government shutdown drags on. He's set to have lunch with Republican lawmakers. Senior congressional correspondent Chad Pergram, he's always there, and he has more. Hi, Chad.
Dana, good morning. Some Republicans are looking for direction from the administration on the shutdown. Others are dug in, unwilling to budge from the GOP position. However, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska chastised her colleagues. Murkowski says lawmakers are not acting with urgency to end the shutdown.
I was talking with one Capitol Hill police officer, and he says, every day I go home and my wife says, so did they open it up? Are we going to be paid? And he said, and I tell her, nope, no progress today.
There are still no formal talks between the sides to resolve the shutdown. 1.4 million federal workers are off the job. Nearly half of those are working without a paycheck.
I think it's pretty crazy. Obviously, if you're like just a dude that happens to work for the government trying to provide for his kids and not getting paid, that's going to be pretty stressful. I could only imagine. So.
The head of the union representing most federal employees is now demanding a quick end to the shutdown. It's a break in the Democratic coalition on the shutdown.
Of course we'll listen to them. We'll take them into consideration. I mean, the Republicans should have listened to them, too, when they also said, please stop arbitrarily firing our employees. Please stop arbitrarily firing VA employees. Please don't get rid of the Department of Education. Now Republicans also don't care about government employees. Where the hell have they been for the last 10 months?
There's growing concern about SNAP benefits expiring on Saturday. The Democrats are suing to compel the Trump administration to release some SNAP money. The end of food aid, coupled with no paychecks, could compel action to end the shutdown. Dana?
All right, Chad Pergram, thank you so much. With that, we bring in the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, coming from a meeting with Vice President Vance and Senate Republicans on Capitol Hill. Majority Leader Thune, thank you very much for being here. I'd like to start. I want to get your reflections on what happened at that meeting, at the lunch. But Chad raises important questions there. Should it be the president that is directly involved in helping to move this ball forward, and why is that not happening?
Well, good afternoon, Martha. And the president would do that after they open up the government. I talked to him last night, and he's willing to sit down next week with the Democrats in his office to talk about a path forward on dealing with the unaffordability and unsustainability of Obamacare, but not while they hold the government hostage. Mm-hmm. So they vote to open up the government. The president sits down with them. I don't know what more do they want. That seems to me to be giving them exactly what they're asking for, is a chance to negotiate on these things. The thing that they want right now is they think that it's all about political leverage. And they are afraid of their far left base, the people who marched here during the No Kings rally, groups like MoveOn.org and Indivisible, who are calling the shots. They are the tail wagging the dog. The Democrat leadership is petrified of these groups. And so they are not moving at all right now. But we have made it very clear that we, Speaker and I and others, are willing to have discussions about health care and other issues, as is the President of the United States. Open up the government and we can have that conversation.
So it's interesting. You said you spoke to the president last